This is my path, my journey. I'm willing to explain it all to you guys. No holding back anything. I just hope you're ready for the experience, and I just hope you can handle it. I want to make this video about veganism. Now, this is going to be a controversial video because I'm not holding back. People almost expect me to be a vegan because, I have people say that, you seem like you care about the animals, you seem like you'd be vegan because you seem like you care about the animals. And what that makes it sound like is if I am not vegan, that I do not care about the animals. And I find that so mind-blowing to me because there's so many. The issue with veganism now is veganism is starting to get a negative stigma around it. Weirdly, it's weird that I don't know how being a vegan got a negative stigma, and I guess I know how. It's because vegans are too harsh. You're being too harsh. If when you were a kid, if somebody was being as harsh as you are, I don't know, scaring somebody away from eating meat is never the way to do it. Like, scaring somebody into doing something is not the way to do it. And I think that we are trying to scare, like, vegans are trying to scare meat eaters and saying, oh, you must not care about the animals, talking down on meat eaters just because they eat meat. And it's like, well, vegans must not care about animals either, because humans, whether we like to look at ourselves or not, we are still animals. And what is the difference between harming somebody's emotional state of mind and harming an animal? You still are harming a creature, a living life. And I think vegans need to realize that it's like the reason why a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are falling into the plant-based diet and being a vegan and vegetarianism, and there's a lot of, this is, starting to get more popular, but there's a lot of people I meet that are like so anti-vegan. If you mention a vegan, they laugh at them and make jokes and make fun of them and all this other shit because of the negative stigma that veganism has gained. Like, it's, for some reason, vegans are very harsh. They also say that honey isn't vegan, and I personally disagree because it comes from a plant. And they say it's not vegan because honey, the process of making honey is made by the bees. So they say animals, it's made by an animal, so therefore it's, it's not vegan. Well, vegan hamburgers, vegan taco meat, vegan chicken patties, there's vegan meat replacements that are all made in a factory, and all those factories guarantee have human beings that are working in those factories. So your vegan burgers were made by an animal. So what is the difference? In my mind, because of what I believe in Mother Nature. I believe in the plants. I believe that Mother Nature is conscious. I believe that the planet itself is a conscious being, and us human beings are like little ants or cells that are inside of this being. Now, the ants that are inside of this being, which are us, I feel like it's all one, right? It's all one. I believe that everything and everyone is one. I believe that there's no difference. Realistically, the stardust that created the planets, the stars, and everything is the same stardust that created you. You are stardust. You are made of the same things that stars are made of. You are made of the same thing. Break it down to atoms. We are one, as in, like, the table is no different from me and the table. We are the same thing. The camera, the phone that's recording me from the, I don't know, it's all one. We're all one. So in my mind, I believe personally, this is just my personal opinion, but I believe there is no difference between a plant and an animal. I believe that a plant is, people say plants aren't conscious, but it's the same thing they used to say about animals. They used to say animals aren't conscious because they can't speak. Now they say plants aren't conscious because they can't speak. Oh, they don't have a nervous system. Oh, they don't have this, they don't have that. How could they hear? How can they do this? How can they smell? How can they, I don't know, but there's been science experiments that have been able to, basically somehow the plants are able to smell. Somehow the plants are able to, even, there was this one experiment that I seen that was almost like, the scientists couldn't really come with a conclusion, but it was almost like they were, like the plants were hearing their thoughts. like the one guy was gonna put a lighter to the plant, and the plant almost reacted when the guy had the thought of it before he did it. The plant reacted. So it's almost like the plant is, they're reactive to our thoughts, to our intention, and I think that's the main thing is intention. People are missing the fact of intention. People are missing the fact that for thousands of years humans have been eating meat, and I think that the Native Americans, me and my friend Phi and his wife, we had this conversation about how, the Native Americans, we were talking about how the Native Americans, they would have ate plants during the spring, summer, and the beginning of fall, and at the end of fall and the winter, and the beginning of spring, they would, before the plants come up in spring, they would eat more meat during the winter because it just makes more sense. The plants are out during the summer. During the winter, they'd be scarce. Food would be scarce, so then they'd hunt animals, and then they'd have animal meat, and then also not just the animal meat, they'd have the animal fur. So it's an all-in-one thing. But at the same time, Native Americans, they look at the animals differently. Like when they kill an animal, they genuinely feel bad for it. I mean, there are Native Americans that cry when they kill an animal. It's like I've embodied that. I've embodied that way of doing things. I mean, you can ask my girl, where it's like every single time I eat dinner, every single time I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, every single time I make a cup of tea, every single time I smoke some cannabis, every single time I do any of that, I thank the plant. I thank Mother Nature for allowing me to do it. I thank Mother Nature for allowing me to wake up in the morning. I thank Mother Nature for, when I'm eating meat especially, I thank the animal for allowing me to eat it. I apologize to it that the humans, might have treated it badly or that it might have had pain, and I genuinely feel bad for it. So therefore, like, my thing with eating meat, the reason why I stopped eating meat is because when I ate meat, I felt it was almost like I could feel the pain the animals were going through. It was almost like the soul of the animal was embodying me. I wasn't just eating, it's like you start to become what you eat. And literally, and that's literally what I was starting to feel. I was starting to become what I was eating. And the way I feel like the natives did it, and this is why I think I think the Christian religion, like with them, I feel like it's now just a part of what they do of habit without knowing where it comes from. But I think saying grace comes deeply from just giving thanks to the planet to cleanse the energy in a way. And this is just my personal belief, but this is why I have this belief with veganism, because I think that it is all one. There is no different. People say there's a big difference between plants and animals, and plants can't feel pain. Well, every time you cut grass, when you're mowing the lawn and you have that cut grass smell, that cut grass smell is the cut grass releasing of, I don't know what they call it, a pheromone or a hormone or whatever the hell they call it with plants, but releasing a chemical to warn the other grass that it just got hurt and that there's danger and it's dead, it's dying, and then there might be danger coming your way. It's basically that cut grass smell is the grass screaming at the top of its lungs. And it's like everything is conscious. Everything. We think we're separate from the planet because we walk around. We think the animals are separate from the plants because they walk around. There's no difference. The only difference is we're not grounded into the plant, so therefore we have to ingest plants to be grounded. And so I think that, I don't know, I just think there's really not that much of a difference here. I think that we're not realizing the big picture here. I mean, we're trying to solve a fifth dimensional problem with a third dimensional answer, which the third dimensional answer is don't eat meat. It's not that simple. If it was that simple, humans, eating meat, like in history, if you were to go back in history, eating meat is one of the reasons why humans evolved. By cooking their meat and cooking it, and it changes the molecules. The heat will change certain molecules and make certain things easier for us to ingest. And it's like this, eating meat is one of the reasons why humans are where we are. Yes, at the same time, we should, if we can do a plant-based diet, we should. But another thing vegans aren't thinking about is money. Like, are you going to give people money to become vegan? If not, then stop bitching them out that they're eating meat. It's like you talk shit about all these meat eaters, but you're not thinking about where they come from. You're only thinking from your selfish point of view. Oh, I have the money to buy, to make sure I'm a vegan, so everyone else should too. well, the world is making, why the fuck is vegan food so much more expensive than non-vegan food? You want people to be vegan, change that shit up somehow. Like, people that sell vegan products, make your fucking products cheaper, and so people can be vegan easier. You know, it's like, the issue is, though, there's a process to making it. So that's why I mentioned the factory thing, because it's like, humans are part of the process of making some of these vegan foods that we eat. So it's like, it's a human, an animal helping to create these things, just like, you know, bees help honey. And I don't know, this is just my point of view on veganism as a whole, because these are all my thoughts. I have so many thoughts on this, but I haven't really spoke upon it because I know it's controversial. I know people are going to disagree with me. I know people are going to be like, yo, I thought this dude was a spiritual fucking guy, you know, I thought he loved Mother Nature, you obviously don't. And it's like, well, this is just me and what works for me. What works for me is I give thanks. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for allowing to eat meat when I do. I'm very grateful for allowing to eat the food that I do. But another thing that people aren't thinking about is that just like animals don't want to be eaten, neither do plants. Plants don't want to be eaten either. There's like, scientists say that plants create these bitter molecules to stop animals from eating them. But yet humans ignore the bitter molecules. And a lot of times we take bitter molecules because the bitter molecules have an effect on our mind or body. You know, for example, you know, I guess I can even use, I don't know, like motherwort. I don't know if you guys know what motherwort is, but motherwort is it's an herb, and it's very, very bitter, but they ingest it and make tea with it. I mean, cacao, chocolate. The cacao bean is very, very bitter, and that bitterness was designed so animals wouldn't eat the seeds, and then the seeds can create new trees. And it was basically a defense mechanism to stop the animals from eating the seeds, because if the seeds weren't bitter, like if the cacao bean wasn't bitter, then therefore it wouldn't be able to reproduce in the wild that much, because animals would be eating its seeds. The plants have evolved to try to make it so we don't eat them. So I think that we're missing the point. If we paid attention to reality and realized what Mother Nature is doing, if we thought about it in the way that vegans are thinking about it, then nothing is safe to eat. Then we can't eat anything. We might as well just be aeritarians, just breathing air, and trying to get full off of oxygen here. But I mean, we can't even do that, because I mean, oxygen, you know, is that even vegan? Like, and I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate and kind of being an asshole right now, but at the same time I'm being real, because it's like, I think that we need to just find a balance. Life is all about a balance. It is never about one thing is right and one thing is wrong. It's about finding a middle ground to it all. And one day, humans will, I guarantee, could be all vegan. We don't need to eat meat. But what I'm saying is, it's not as black and white as you think. You can't just say, you know, vegans will be like, well, buy your vegan food first, and then you'll have money for it. But then I have no money for anything else. What if my family needs something and I have no money because I was a selfish asshole that bought vegan food and they're not vegan? And it's like, I can force my family to be vegan, but that's selfish, right? Like, it's like, you can't force your way on somebody just because you think your way is right. That doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. You know, people have to come around on their own time, on their own, you know, and I think that's an issue that we're having, is that vegans are trying to force their way on everyone else because they think their way is right. And your way might be right, but nobody wants to listen to it because you're being rude about it. Nobody wants to hear it because you're making everyone else that's not a vegan feel like shit because they're not vegan. And that is no different than making these animals feel pain when you're just making humans feel pain. You don't know how much pain you can cause somebody. Just words are very painful. Watch what you say to people. Watch how you say it to people. You want people to be vegan? Then show them that being vegan means that you're kind, you're embodying it, it's like, you can be nice to the animals, but you're a walking contradiction of yourself if you're talking shit about the humans, or if you're, I don't know, nobody's perfect is what I'm trying to get at. So stop acting like you're perfect just because you're a vegan, because you're not. I guarantee there are things that animal products creep in. Human labor creeps in. Human child labor creeps in. You know, it's like there's some chocolate bars that are like human child labor, and if you eat certain chocolate bars, you're supporting that. But it's like, it's hard to get around it. We just have to realize that it's not as black and white as we think, and be a little more open minded.